What's happening? This is Bernardo with Fat Bear EDC, and this is the SOG PowerPint. A great little tool, a great little mini pocket Leatherman-esque tool. But let's get into the tool set. It's got a great little pocket clip here, as you can see. Little lanyard set up here. The show, though, are definitely the pliers and probably the 1/4 inch bit that I'll show you in a minute. But if you notice, these pliers have these little gears here that allow for super tight, super grippy pliers. These pliers are great. I haven't cut so much stuff, but you can see that the amount of leverage you can get with these gears, it probably can snip through some pretty heavy duty stuff for its size. And then I'll get into the 1/4 inch bit that I was telling you guys about. As you can see right there, when you close the pliers, it kind of locks it in. And if you notice, there's actually a little magnet right there. So you can put a little bit, stays on, and then it locks in. So super handy. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later as well. Then it has a flat blade. So nice little, great little utility EDC little blade there. It's got then a awl. I will say that when I got this tool, it was really tight, but now things have loosened up. So the tolerance were pretty good. Pretty sharp little awl. I haven't made a bunch of holes with it, but it does work. So I can't attest to the hole to it, but or how holy it can do, or I don't do a whole lot of hole jobs. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say. But it works. You can see how it's pretty sharp, and it works pretty well. It's got this flathead screwdriver. It's okay. It bent already on me. I was trying to loosen a tiny little flathead, and it bent, unfortunately. So there's that. If you haven't noticed, all these tools are locking, which is really neat. So it allows for manipulating these tools a lot better when you're using them. Then it's got a little gut hook, package hook thing there. Works pretty well. The blade on the outside's not super, it's not sharp, I should say. It's a little dull, but you can see how that little corner could definitely cut into stuff. And I have used it to cut into certain little plastic packages and things. But maybe even cut a seatbelt. Haven't tried that, but maybe. Then it's got file with medium and fine grit, and then it's also got a sawing edge, which is pretty nice. I dig the file. I think the file was done pretty well in this one. I have heard that people complain that it's a little short. I think it's okay for the size tool that it is. It's a mini little Leatherman type-esque tool. So I think for the size and for EDC purposes, you just need a file, run something out really quick. Works fine. Works pretty nice. Then we got a serrated blade. Now this, really like that they put this on here. I think a lot of manufacturers on multi-tools, they tend to put a saw blade, which there's nothing wrong with it, especially for like an outdoors or camping multi-tool. It works perfect. But for EDC and everyday purposes, I feel like a serrated blade is much greater. I don't really come across a lot of wood in my every day. I do come across zip ties. You could cut a seatbelt with this as well. You could cut a sandwich with it if you wanted. So I mean, I feel like it's a much more usable blade than a wood saw. Then we got a bottle opener. That's all it is, really, essentially. It's got this little nipple to kind of move it up. It locks. It's okay. It's not too bad. It's a little thin. Then it's got a Phillips. I think it's like a number 2. As you can see, it's also got a bottle opener. Same little nipplet there. Kind of a thin one, but it does work. It works okay. Number 2, I think it is a 0. If you look at it, it's, it does in a pinch. I kind of wish it was a number 1. That's, I think, where my complaint would be with this, or the shortcomings of this tool, is that some of the tools can be a little thin or a little light duty. So what I would have maybe liked is maybe a combination tool of sorts that does bottles and cans, or maybe just a more robust bottle opener, and then maybe a number 2. The Phillips you can't be too mad at, because you do have the the capability of doing all sorts of different things here, right? So you could EDC, you could pocket this if you really wanted to. I don't typically put this in the pocket. I usually will do something like in a bag. Um, but you could if you really wanted to. And then before we get too far, let's just go. And then it's also got scissors. So the scissors, so as I mentioned, the shortcomings are probably wish they were a little bit more heavy duty. Same thing with the scissors. Scissors are not terrible. They do cut pretty good. My only issue is that when you're starting to cut more heavy duty stuff, so I'll show you here. It cuts okay, you know, it cuts great. So for little EDC cuts, perfect. Where it comes in is like when you're cutting up more robust stuff, it kind of comes a little uncomfortable. It'll actually still cut, as you can see, but where it starts kind of digging into the thumb right there. So I kind of wish they had a little rest. So I think maybe if they got rid of one of these tools and just kind of made everything else more robust, that might be great for V2 if they ever do that. But the bit adapter is really great because you can do, it's kind of endless, right? With how many different, I usually like this thing. So for me, I EDC this thing, but then I also really like it for snowboarding and other type of stuff. So if I'm snowboarding, I usually put like a number 2 in here, put it in a bag, and then it's ready to go. I can knock off some ice off the bindings or something with it. I can fix my binding with that. I can adjust any nuts maybe. Use the awl to pick at some ice too if it gets really heavy duty. It's lightweight, so it's great for that. But it's also great for the office. Taking the office, having a bit. I'll usually maybe have something like this, right? A little bit strip with typical stuff. Not necessarily this one, but you could have one, you know, with Torx and Allens like this for different applications. You could have a socket setup. Pretty sweet, you know, and once you put it in, it locks. It also has a little magnet, so if you look, it kind of locked in there. So it has a little magnet there that'll hold and then lock it into place, which is pretty nice. If you have something like this, you can see how the possibilities can start really getting endless, right? If you had one of these, right, you could essentially have a full screwdriver there, right? And it locks in. It's pretty solid, pretty comfortable center drive, pretty comfortable to use and stuff. So you see, it can be kind of adapted to whatever you need. I think the other thing I mentioned, I almost forgot to mention too, is it's also got the little measurements. So not too big. I don't really think too much about these, but it does come in handy. I was checking this out earlier to see, and I think it's 6 inches, right? So it's got a metric and it's got standard, and yeah, so this is 6 inches. If you look here, zeroed right around there. Right, you're not gonna build cabinet with this or something like that. But, you know, if you're at the store, you need a quick measurement for a bolt or something, you can get it. So, I mean, it can be handy. Not something to count on, but something to be handy. And as you can see, it's got really nice kind of flipping action there to some degree. So overall, it's 2026. I think when I saw it on Amazon, it was about $40. I think I got it on sale for 30 something a while ago, a year or two ago, something. It is currently part of my EDC. As I mentioned, I like using it for snowboarding and other sports like that too. You can kind of adapt it to whatever you need. And if you're a skateboarder, you could have the socket that you need on here. You could have all sorts, like you said, you could have a little setup like that. A little combination like that could go probably a long ways, depending on what you're doing and what kind of, what kind of stuff you're typically working on. Would I get it? You know, there's a lot of other things out right now. There's Nextool, there's Roxxon, there's some other stuff out there that I'm interested in getting. Yeah, I would. I mean, it's in my rotation. I really like how just the little features. I like the lanyard that they put on here. I'm actually going to try to take this clip off and put a little deep carry EDC pocket clip on here and see how that works out. You know, just for fun, just to see. I actually kind of like the deep pocket. Kind of no one sees. You see the clip. No one knows really what's in the pocket. They think it's keys or something. So yeah, so I would definitely get this again. And that was my thoughts on the SOG PowerPint. If you guys dug my video, please hit me up with a like. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe. I will catch you in the next one.